Okay, guys, I think we are ready to start now. We will still have more people joining, but a lot of people tend to be late, but we cannot wait for everyone, sorry. Thanks again for joining our workshop today, and welcome to Travel Massive Hoi An and Danang chapter. Today is our second workshop that we've been organizing, and today we are focusing on the photography for travel businesses. My name is Natalya, and I'm Hoi An and Danang chapter leader. I'm also a co-founder of Secret Aids Experiences, and I'm producing today's event. We decided to start series of online workshops because now it's quite tough time for travel businesses, and we wanted to give a chance to our chapter members to teach each other different skills and also share their knowledge so everyone can do something useful during this hard time. Today's workshop will feature two speakers. We have Etienne Bossot from Pics of Asia, and we have Wissink from Danang photographer. They will cover following topics today. They'll be speaking about finding light, location, setting up the space, composition, angles, camera settings, and more. Both Etienne and Fred will do around 30-minute presentations, and afterwards we'll have a Q&A session. So please, meanwhile, feel free to use the chat box to leave your questions, and I'll address them to the guys afterwards. Please don't forget to keep your microphone mute and camera off. If you want to message anything, use the chat box for it. So let me introduce Etienne, our first speaker. Etienne is a travel and commercial photographer. He's also a photography instructor and a public speaker. He's focusing on travel photography and creativity. He has been based in Hoi An for the last 13 years, and he's been running photography workshops and tours in Asia since 2009 under his company Pics of Asia. Are you ready to start, Etienne?
Hello, Natalia. Thank you very much for the introduction. It's very good to be here, and I would like to thank Travel Massive for giving us this chance to give you a little talk. So this talk is going to be focused. So let me share my screen. I will disappear from the screen, but I can show you my presentation. So this talk is focused on helping people who run travel businesses to, there you go. No, not this one. Sorry, this one. So people who run the travel businesses always need to do promotion, advertising, whether it is for social media, for online booking, websites, etc. It's a little bit tricky sometimes to hire a photography team, mostly when you're running a small business on a low budget. So we would like to maybe give you some tips to help you improve your photography. On this presentation, I will focus mostly on what is more lifestyle and outdoor type of photography, while I believe Fred is working more on an indoor commercial, like hotel room food photography approach. So whether your business is a tour for tourism, whether you run a hotel or restaurant, or even a massage parlor or a spa or something, you could use some of these tips. So, well, Natalia introduced me a little bit, but just to repeat, why not? So I'm French. I've been living in Vietnam since 2007 in Hoi An. I am the biggest lover of Hoi An there is around. This is the best place to live. So, and Vietnam is a fantastic country. I started teaching photography, as Natalia mentioned, in 2009 through Hoi An Photo Tour and then Pics of Asia. So we have been running photography tours and teaching photography in Asia for about 10 years. Our specialty is people photography. Yeah, all the tutorials we have on the website, everything we talked about is about people, because we love the people in Asia and the contact, the interaction with them. And I'm also a commercial photographer and wedding, and I co-founded with Frederik, who you will hear later, Danang photographer. He will be talking about this a little bit more. So as I told you, Pics of Asia is mostly focusing on people. And we talk a lot about things like the way to approach people, etc. It's something we really care about because of the ethics we think we need to include in travel photography. But this is just another topic. So on this presentation, I would like to talk to you about really the need to understand to understand the need you have for high quality images. People today, they want to book a hotel, they want to book a tour, etc. They're going on social media, they're going on booking websites, and they will see the photos. The photos is really something that pops. Yeah, it should really grab the attention. You can write as much text as you want. If the photos don't grab the attention of the person, it will be difficult to differentiate yourself from competitors. If myself, I go on a booking engine and I see a hotel which has really nice photos, I believe the people who run this business care about their business. So I think the whole experience I will have in this business will be better, more interesting. For the people who run tours, etc., in different countries for tourism, you want to give people a sense of maybe, I don't know, exotism, adventure, something like explaining them with your images what experience they would get from your services. This is an image. Actually, this is Fred. You can see a second on the right side while we were on a photography tour in North Vietnam. So I will use different examples in this presentation. I will use the example of the imaginary bicycle tool. Later, I'll use the example of my own business. So what kind of images do I try to create, do I try to capture that showcase what I think is best representing my business? And I'll give you more tips, general tips about how you could improve your photography. So the case of the imaginary bicycle tour, I created this yesterday. So this is my son, Victor, on the bicycle. And I told him yesterday, come on, I want to take a series of images to tell people how to take better images. So he was really excited. So the first thing I did is I took him out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So let's say I'm running a bicycle tour in a little touristic town and I'm trying to promote my bicycle tour. I took this photo of my boy. As you can see, the light is really harsh. It was the middle of the day. I do not even see his face because of the hat and the shadow. The background is not really that exciting, I believe. So we started like this. I took him later on in the afternoon into the fields. As you can see, late afternoon, it was before sunset. The light is much, much better. I have clear detail on his face, even though he doesn't look so happy on this picture. But it's always more pleasant to the eye. So really, one of the first things you need to be careful with, and Fred, I know we'll talk about that again, is the light. The light is everything. If you run outdoor activities, outdoor business, and you want to create content, it is very important for you to go at the best time of the day. And that is, unfortunately, waking up early in the morning or waiting for sunsets. Really, really important. The second thing I did is I thought, okay, so I need to show the place. Where is this bicycle thing happening? I need to give a bit of idea. Is it countryside? Is it city? Is it mountain? Is it in a foreign country, etc.? So I decided to include a bit of the road there to give it a nice composition with a leading line. And we got, our photo shoot got hijacked by a bunch of goats, as you can see on the left, which was really fun, yeah, to show like if I travel in the country and I see my son can go on a bicycle tour like this in the countryside and he can see animals, I know he's gonna like it. And then what you need is somehow to try and capture a specific moment. So this is about 10 minutes after he actually went to see the goat and pushed his bicycle in the field, and the light was really, really good. And he started to really look at the goat and smile, yeah? And so this picture of a young boy with his bicycle smiling with the wildlife around, I know he's having a really good time. And I feel I really would like to sign my kid up for this tour. So this is really, really important to play with the light, to think about your surroundings, and to try and capture a moment, okay? Show the feeling of the guests during your activity. To do that, it's really about defining for yourself your core activity, your core business qualities, okay? So what you need to do is to take a nice, good old pen and paper and think about keywords, ideas. What is your activity, service, the product you sell? What is it bringing to people? And for this, the best way is to ask your clients. So if you manage to list some keywords, it's a fun tour. It's an educational tour. It's about food. It's about interaction with the local community. It's about relaxation. It's about spirituality, etc. You're gonna list all these keywords, and don't try to list 50 of them. Yeah, it's gonna get complicated. 5, 6, 7 maximum 10 keywords, but they're really usually 3, 4, 5 terms which really define your business. And what you're going to try to have to do is to apply these keywords to images. So it's a little bit tricky, but I'll show you an example applied to my own business, which is running photography tours and workshops. So teaching photography. So one of the first obvious keyword about my business is photography. All right. So here's a man taking a picture. Well, all right, here's a man taking a picture. Where is he? What is he doing? Is he having fun? Is he with a group? Is he? We don't know much. Well, it doesn't seem to be really sad, but I want to know more. So then I want to tell people, all right, I'm going to teach you photography, but I'm going to teach you photography in really nice locations. We're going to go off the beaten track where the tourists don't go, and we're going to be at the right time of the day in the right place. And then we're going to be able to take some great photos. So this photo, in my opinion, shows that. Then you can try to add more things. So I want to tell people that I'm going to take them to take photos in really nice locations and teach them photography. And honestly, for the teaching part, someone just pointing his finger like this kind of looks like he's teaching. It's showing them something about the composition, about how they can align their camera or frame their scene. So it's kind of easy to show that. And then you can play, you can start adding other keywords, yeah? This is photography plus amazing location plus interacting with the locals. So if I want to focus on different aspects of my business, I then have different type of photos that will illustrate all these keywords. And all these photos have been taken while they happen. They are candid photos, but because I've been trying to take these type of photos for years, I kind of see when there's a really good moment. Yeah, that doesn't happen if you have an amazing light and at the same time one of your clients having a great smile on their face with is, you know, you have to capture this. Other examples, taking photos in a great location, interacting with the locals and having a lot of fun. So the game is to try to have as many keywords as possible in one picture, but it gets complicated. Yeah, if you want to add more keywords, more ideas, the photos, the compositions tend to be a bit more difficult to realize because maybe they get a bit more messy, or you need all these different elements to happen together. And it gets a bit complicated. Another example, when we launched our iPhone smartphone photography workshop in Hoi An a few years ago, I wanted to get photos of, we teach you iPhone photography in great places. So I needed to be on location and Hoi An market behind shows it well. I needed to show the iPhone and showing the photo on the iPhone, and we understand it's the same scene. And then I did the teaching part. And the teaching part, I think having the hand like this, looking like it's explaining something, and the client on the left, kind of looking at the screen, listening, I think it works. So this shot was a bit of a chance. And we were here and I was trying to figure something out and I saw the hand and I thought, that looks like he's teaching something. So I found it a fun game as well to try to apply these things. So I'd like to give you maybe more tips now about thinking a little bit outside the box. So I didn't really want to talk about camera settings for this presentation because you can learn about camera settings all over the internet. You can YouTube it. People will explain that to you in videos. You can check our website even. We talk about it. The basics of composition. So understanding the light, working with the best light, trying to clean your background, your surroundings, trying to include backgrounds and foregrounds that tell a story about the things. But then it's really about trying to provoke a reaction with your viewer. So you want to create images depending on where you will place them. Images for social media, images for website. For example, when I want to use the image for the homepage of my website, it's really the images that need to be very striking and that people need to understand very quickly, yeah, before you lose them. So how do you want people to feel? Okay, when they get on their website. For me, this photo, I've used it at some point to show the excitement, the fun of being really immersed. You can use that for immersion. We go really lost in faraway places, and this is where the photos are really amazing. Do you want to provoke a bit of a dreamy? People really want to come on your place because it's so exotic. And for this, you can use graphic elements. So adding a palm tree in your picture, the photo of my boy on his bicycle, if I had a line of palm trees in the background, it would have felt even more exotic. like for Western people. So think about the elements you can add. Do you want to create a sense of adventure? Do you have some landmarks in your place, in your tour, like old ruins, old trees, old things that will evoke a feeling to the people? Yeah, like the spas always have these kind of hot stones and things they use for massage. So these people know what they are and they evoke some feelings. So you need to think about what you can use in your frame to create, to provoke the reaction in the viewer. So now I want to give you more general tips. Thing that I thought about when I created this presentation, and I saw I was looking for at images that I use for my business, and a few ideas came up. Yeah. Don't be afraid to set up your photo shoot. Obviously, you can run a bicycle tour and take photos of your clients having fun. As much as your clients are having fun, they are not really here to work for you. They are here to have a good time. They're going to be happy to help you for 5 minutes. But if things don't work, you're going to lose them quickly. You're not going to be able to do what you have. Setting up a shot by inviting friends to join your restaurant and invite them for a dinner. And when the photographer is here, have them have a nice dinner set up in the corner that looks better, etc. It will just instantly improve your photography. Mostly for restaurants. I see a lot of restaurants showing images of just candid people eating, and someone's got their feet like, on the table almost, and the other is like opening the mouth, and things don't look really good. Yeah, so you can offer discounts, you can offer special things to your clients. If you have a small group, for example, and you will have free time and your clients look very nice, and you tell them, look, this tour is on me. If we shoot these little things I need to shoot, and they look good and they're nice and the weather is good, and you can do it today, just don't be afraid to set it up, like I did with my son yesterday. Yeah, I asked him to drive on the road again. I moved into a different place. I asked him to drive again. After 20 minutes, he just wanted to go to play with the goats. I managed to keep him 5 more minutes. But don't be afraid to do it. It will instantly improve your commercial photography. Think about what you need to show. Okay, if I run photography tours, if someone wants to book a tour, they will look at 10 pictures. They're not going to look at 500 pictures. So you need to show, as we talked about before, images that define the keywords of your business. So this image for me, it works really well. We're taking photo of the people and we're doing it with respect, with interaction. We talk with them. We don't just walk and take photos and walk away. It shows really well. There are some other things though, which could be part of your business, but it's not really what people want to see. For example, this is one of my pictures taken of my tour. It's not a photo I'm going to use myself for promotion, because if I was a photographer and I saw this picture and I thought, oh, look at all this 1, 2, 3, 6 photographers taking photo of these 2 subjects in the water. And sometimes it does happen. Sometimes I take a group of 6 people and we go in a place where there are not so many people. And when we go there, we talk with the ladies and we chat with them and we create a really good atmosphere, but this photo doesn't say that. For me, this photo shows 6 people taking a photo of these 2 women, and it feels a little bit intrusive. So as much as this is part of the tours I run, it's not an image I'm going to show. So you have to think about the way people could perceive. And I am a photographer myself, and I run photography tours. So I tell myself, what would I want to see? What would I be shocked to see? There are some other photography tours. I see the pictures they post. I'm shocked. I'm shocked to see a group of 20 people around one woman. For me, this is just not something I would do. So think about the people into the business you have, the people who have interests in the products, in the service you sell. What would they like to see? And what, if you run a public swimming pool, you don't want to show the picture of people getting, change in this like public locker room with all the people. This is not the best part of the swimming pool. I don't know if you got my example, yeah? Find the right interactions when you work with interaction with the people. So whether it is your clients, for example, like this picture with local people, or whether it is your staff interacting with the clients, your receptionist, the server, the bartender in your bar, things like this. It is very, very important for you to find the right interaction. And I have realized over the years that people are really, really receptive to this human interaction. The food could be great. The whatever product you sell could be really nice, but if you don't have this interaction, this feeling of being taken care of, it's not really working for a lot of the guests. You need more than just the product. It's all the service behind. So the interaction with the people works really well. And for this, you need good actors, I would say. Some people are better actors than others. Some people just do it really well by themselves. Some people are just not really good actors. So if you use some of your staff, some of your friends, and if some of your friends and some of your staff who are keen to help you, you realize they look very stuck up on the camera, just change. Yeah, use someone else. Okay. If I use this picture to sell my photography tour, oh, look, I made all these students very happy. It doesn't tell me anything, yeah? It's, all right, people are happy, they smile. Yeah, they were in a restaurant. No, they were in a spa. No, they just come out of the hotel. No, they were on a photography tour. No, I have no idea. And people smiling at the camera. I think it used to work some years ago, but now it's just all over the place. So avoid the pictures that show people just happy. Just try to show people happy using your services, using your products, interacting with your staff, interacting with other clients, in the surroundings of what makes your tool special. So once again, you try to define the keywords that define your business and apply them for your images. I find that some of these photos have a lot of reactions for me on social media for the business. On this example, these participants on the tour just had a chat and started laughing. And the photo shows that really well. And this picture doesn't show any teaching, doesn't show any, we're in a great location. It shows that the people being there are relaxed and smile and laugh. And it's not a place where we're going to be too serious about ourselves. And I found this image working really well on social media. So think about not just capturing the core activity. And this is what I'll talk in the next slide. For me, this image sold so many spots on my photography tour in Iran last year. I took this image 2 years ago on one of the photo tour in Iran, and I posted it on social media. And I got so many reactions, and I got a few people signing up for the tour because of that image. And we're not taking any picture here. No one is teaching photography to anyone, but it's so exotic. And you show people that you take them to places like this, and this is not really showing, once again, your core business. You have to make people dream a little bit. So think about what makes this location where you are, what makes this service special, what you could build around it to make it a little bit more romanticized. Okay, and try to picture that. This is really images that will be the most effective with your clients. And this is not the easiest part. You really need to know your business. You need to know your service. You need to ask your clients what they feel, and just remember some words, some keywords they told you, and try to build a narrative around these keywords, and you will find out what kind of images do you need. I know Fred will talk about that once again, because we are photographers and we know how important it is the light, and the lights. Okay, you find the light, you try to make people dream. So the photo of my son on the bicycle, I was facing the light. You had this lens flare coming. It feels very dynamic. It feels very dreamy. It feels very early morning, late afternoon. And this is a very strong tool to give impact to your picture. So remember, set your alarm at 5 in the morning when you go take photos. You won't regret it. And overdo it. Okay, so this is different. This is the last image of this presentation. I don't know, this photo popped and I wanted to use it. This is a lifestyle photography we shot for the fall season earlier this year. And the splash of the water in the foreground with the sprinklers, adding this little bit. You're going to take some travel images in a field, and there is some smoke in the background, this extra drama, etc. will add a little plus. So sometimes you overdo it without overdoing it. Of course, if your photo looks very staged and faked, almost like stock photography, it's not going to work. Mostly people who know about photography, you need to have candid types of reactions from your actors, your models. But you overdo it, you try to add more elements of the scene, and the dynamism will be really good, and the impact of the picture will I believe work better. So this is my part of the presentation. I think I went a little bit too fast. I always speak too fast. I will leave the parole back to Natalya and Fred. So if you're interested to follow us, easy, Pics of Asia, Facebook, Instagram. And if you want to learn about travel, people photography focused on the Asia area, picsofasia.com. We have plenty of tutorials that you can find. I'm going to go back to Zoom, where hopefully you're going to be able to see me again. Natalya, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Etienne. I think it was a very thorough presentation. I'm sure people enjoyed it, and I'm sure Fred has a lot to add on other topics. So please, everyone, meet our second speaker, Fred Wissink. Fred is an experienced photographer. He's mostly focusing on hotel and editorial photography, and he's personally passionate about food photography. He has worked with international brands and magazines, and his images have been featured in many publications and online platforms around the world. He is also a co-founder of Danang Photographer. Hi, Fred, you ready to start?
Yes, I am. I think Etienne should stop sharing his screen first, though. Otherwise, we're going to be a bit Hi, everyone. I am not the teacher that Etienne is, so you'll have to forgive me. I don't have the same level of experience and the same sort of comfort speaking to groups, but I will try my best to give everyone something to think about or something to at least ask a question about. I can share should I share my screen now? Is that the idea? Let's see.
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's see. One moment. There we go. And okay. Sure. Right. So I'm going to be talking a bit about how to make any picture better, but the idea really is more on the people who are content creators for their own travel blogs and websites, or even if you just want to make better pictures of your own travels. And like Etienne mentioned, he focuses more on the outside stuff, the adventure, the people interactions. My experience comes mainly from the interior design and food photography sort of business. So I'll be touching on that more than the outside stuff. Some of the things are very similar though. There are equal things between both types of presentation, but this is kind of what we're going to go. Let's see. Move the. There we go. So, who am I? I was born in Canada and I moved to Asia in 1999 and to Vietnam in 2006. I am a self-taught photographer. I took no classes and I made many mistakes along the way, trying to figure out how things were done. Still make them, but every single shoot you do is always a learning process. So for the last 13 years, I've been doing photography. I started working as a photo editor at a lifestyle magazine back in 2007. And after 7 years, I started my own company, Frederik Photography. And we did, as it says here, specializing in architecture design and portraits. Since moving to Hoi An, I've been working with Etienne, both in Hoi An Photo Tour, and together we started Danang Photographer, which is more my specialty. And we are doing those together. So we have a good team on that. I've also made a book. It's called Expats. It was a series of portraits. I wish I could send you a link to buy one. There isn't at the moment, so I'll have to wait on that. What is Danang Photographer? Danang Photographer is a full-service photography and video platform started last year. There are 3 of us. There's Etienne doing a lot of the lifestyle, people, and adventure photography. I myself specialize in architecture and design. And we have a videographer with us, Mathieu, who does really high-quality video stuff. But all 3 of us tend to work together on all the projects. It's a collaborative effort. It's quite fun. Let's see. So we are going to dive in here really quickly. We have a photo here of a room. So what I want to talk about is many people, when they arrive at a hotel, they want to make a beautiful picture of their room when you're traveling. Now, the biggest mistake people usually make is to just take out the camera phone and snap a picture really quick. I've done it because I was lazy. The best way to go is actually to do a little more before that. Now, keep in mind that the pictures you're going to see are professional images taken for properties, but many of the same elements are included too. As you can see here, we have tidy your space. So tidy your space gets down to cleaning up everything. I know hotel rooms are very clean when you arrive, but making sure that certain things are ready, like hiding power cords and whatnot, checking the furniture, making those pillows nice and fluffy, all kinds of stuff. Many people make the mistake and they want to drop right on the bed and make a big mess of the bed sheets, which makes it difficult. Try not to do that. You know, it's tempting after a long journey, but if you are there to make a photo of your space, if you are a content creator or a blogger, or even just for yourself, make it look nice, make sure it's nice and tidy before you start. This is a good example in this photograph. I was very lucky because this hotel had extremely clean rooms, so it was almost nothing to do afterwards except take the picture. Next one you're going to look for is, like Etienne said, you've got to find your light. Sometimes the light works with you, sometimes you're working against it. In this case, the light came through a beautiful side window and lit up the room. You can also see throughout the area, I don't know if you can see my mouse on things, but there's no wires anywhere. There's no things set around. And also, if you go back to the previous slide, all of the lights in the room are on. So the lights tend to give a nice feeling to the room, which helps you balance the outside as well. So you can show a nice warm inside and the nice kind of afternoon blue. Time of day is also very important, of course. As you can see in this photo, the time of day is in the early evening, and it gives you that sort of cool dusk feeling where the inside of the room is very, very warm and inviting. This one is done in the early morning with the rain streaming through, sunlight streaming through the windows. But even the lights that are on in the room help access elements of that room, which gives you a nice sort of comfortable feeling. The next part is really checking for your angle. So when you're looking for your light, you're looking for your angle as well. Many times hotels look really nice, or even rooms, even your own bedroom looks really nice from the corner. You can see a lot of the room that way. But other times it can be really funky. You can sort of shoot off in a different way, or you can try something a bit different. So it is nice to try and find that right angle to work with. Although there's only so many angles you can really use to take a picture of a room, unless you can video, then you just sort of spin in a circle, also quite good. Something else that's really important is looking for details. Many people tend to forget that there's lots of small little things that people who have designed spaces tend to add to your room to give you something interesting to see. You may not notice it when you first walk in. The classic bowl of fruit is what everyone looks at. Flowers are easy, but there's lots of things that designers have spent many, many months creating for a space that make it just sort of look a bit different. This is a good example of the outside balcony area of a room, and it's just simply done with 2 chairs and some flowers. You may never even use that space, but it's quite pretty. And something that I think a lot of content creators tend to overlook when they are going to a space. They get the big, beautiful hero picture of the where you've gone to see, but they forget the small things. So looking for small things and small details is a really nice way to sort of get a better feel or a mood of a space when you walk into it. Another example, little flowers on the table. And this is not a big fancy hotel room. This is actually a small homestay here in Hoi An. But it's a funky angle, which shows the room, has interesting light outside. It's really pretty and very soft. And then that little set of flowers on the table kind of draw you towards that while still looking at the rest of the space. I personally quite like it. So does the client. Apologies, I'm going too fast. A big one for everyone is photographing their food. Even though it may be almost cliche at this point, food is still a fantastic thing to photograph. And you can photograph your food with anything. You don't need a big fancy camera. What you really need is some good looking food and your smartphone. So before you start making food, you have a few things to go and do. Many of them are the same for other things too. So if you're going to be doing food, you want to make sure that the area you're going to be making your food photographs in is clean. People tend to forget that they can see a glass in the background, or they see someone else's dish in the background, or You have knives and forks put somewhere, all kinds of things. So take a look at your space and make it a nice clean space to work with. Obviously in a restaurant, it's a little more difficult, but you can still do some small things too. Part of cleaning the area is getting rid of distractions. So if you have a cup in the background that doesn't look quite right, and you make a picture, then move it out of the way. Like I said, cutlery, all kinds of stuff. Maybe your partner's arms are in the background all the time. That happens quite a bit too, because they're waiting for you to make your picture, and they sit there like this, and you see their arms. So you want them to get asked them very, very nicely, can you please take a step back? Tidy your plate. It doesn't matter how amazing the person who put that food on the plate is, there's always going to be little bits of something somewhere. And unless you're doing a full-blown photo shoot, where you're going to spend hours afterwards doing retouching, it's going to be something there. So it takes 5 seconds and a bit of your napkin to wipe away a bit of oil or something else on the plate. Helps with your pictures quite a bit. You can also play with your angles. It's very, very important. So you can go up to the top, looking down. There's no rules in food photography about how to shoot food. You can do whatever you want. So with smartphones, it's super easy. You can put your phone almost under something if it has interesting light coming through it. You can go over the top. You can go through angles. You can shoot all kinds of stuff. You can move around. It's interesting to show food in a new way. I've always thought that food is sort of a landscape on a plate. So if you have interesting light coming across this food and you come really close to it, you can show the texture and the movement of how it sits on a plate. You can show all kinds of different things. It's also very colorful too. So working with food is really, really pretty in terms of just straight color, unless you're just eating basic mashed potatoes every single day. Maybe not the best. Finding your light, again, watching how light changes the texture of the items on your plate as you move around it. If you are sitting in a nice window, then the light's going to be very, very pretty. The hardest one for most people, though, is the restaurant, because the light is very flat in a restaurant or it's very dark. So you're going to need to find a way to possibly make that look a little bit better. So if you're there with a friend and you have a little flashlight on your phone, your friend can light your food from a different angle, and you see different ways of seeing it. It's an easy way to make something look a bit different. If you're out in the daytime and you are sitting next to the window, for any of those people who are content creators that photograph food a lot, try to get a window seat every single time. And it's not just for the view outside, it's for better pictures of your food. Nice big soft window is very, very nice. And the last one, don't be afraid of a little bit of shadow, because shadow gives you texture and shape. So the lack of light gives you that shape of something. We saw in Etienne's pictures the sunlight from behind the subject, or sunlight, or the campfire picture was very nice because the campfire was a light and people's faces were glowing, and then behind them kind of went a bit black on the edges. Without that darker area of shadow, you're not going to have the three-dimensional texture or shape to something. So it's very important to not just flat picture everything. It's not just flat light. It's nice to have something a bit more rounded or shapely to it. So don't be scared of shadows. Shadows are your friend. We'll look at a few pictures of some food now in different environments, and I'll give you some tips on how to make them. So here's to set up your space. Okay, the photo on the left, we were very lucky to have an interesting space in a restaurant to work with. There's a color scheme, and all the round elements of the dish and of the space lead you into that actual dish itself. That's something else you can try to look for too, is different elements and that kind of thing that give you the similar feeling to your food that will give you that look. On this particular dish, the rice crackers are round, the plating is round, the back of the seats are round, so all of it sort of lends itself to blending the same idea together. And also look at how the light comes across this dish too. You have it nicely from the side, and it comes in. There's some shadow on the far left side of the dish. It gives it some shape. Similar with the next one, beside it is spring rolls, and we're shooting through things. So again, we've changed the rules. This is the exact same restaurant, a different dish they've made, but you're looking through things. So we have some wine glasses in the front to give it a feeling of texture. We have the basket with the sauces. We have all these elements that go right through this picture, but they give us a sense of depth where we can look into something. But they also show all the elements of that restaurant in it. They have the beautiful bamboo baskets. So you know it's maybe a restaurant in Asia, or they serve Asian food. You have these different things that help you give the feeling for what you're looking at. When I said play with angles, I wasn't joking. You can do whatever you want. So this was taken under this glass. I think this was a dessert. I can't remember. So if I had photographed this from the top, it would have been just that cracker on top of it. But from underneath, I get to see all the different elements. I see the piece of fruit inside, I see the color, but also when doing this, you see the light comes from the top. So it lights up the glass a little bit. Now, this was done in a restaurant where it was the classic kind of flat restaurant lighting everywhere. So the only way to get some sort of texture to our light was to shoot into those lights from up top. You see the one behind it on the edge of the glass. It's the one that's making all the light come through it. So those are elements you can add in. But again, play with the angle. It's fun. I mean, there's no. This is also a good way to block out some distracting background. Behind this glass, there are actually 6 people. So a combination of a smaller depth of field and the different angle has basically made those people disappear. They don't become part of the image anymore. They're not distractions. Now I just have my beautiful dish along with my wine glasses in the background, making it look pretty highlights. So it's one of those things where if you really think about different angles and whatnot, you can have a lot of fun with it and also get rid of all those distractions that are usually in the background. Again, playing with more angles. This is the exact same dish shot 2 different ways, probably within about 30 seconds of each other. So you have one which is a standard angle, that's the one on your right, and you have one on your left, which is the sort of looking down into this thing. If I only shown one picture, the one on the left, you would not know that this basket had this large sort of stretchy thing at the top of it. It's different feeling to everything, right? So again, playing with angles is very, very important. Now, again, this is done in the same restaurant, so the light is very flat, but because we've given it some of a different angle and play with our shapes, we do have an element that there's some shape to it. The egg helps too. Anything round will always give you nice shadows around the bottom of something, so it was quite helpful. Angles again, basic top-down, but now this is one of those things where you're looking for the graphic elements on a plate. When I talk about food being a landscape, you have the rise and fall of certain things. It's also graphic design. So you have the plate, you have a strong element in the top corner, you have the food and the sauce that's coming across everything. So all these things come together to give yourself almost a graphic design of the item. It could be a drawing. But without the vegetables in this one, it would be very flat and kind of brown for everything. So that's also important too, to have something in it that draws you into that image. In this case, it's the graphic design element and the color. And again, find the light. You got to find that light as much as possible. So this is the classic, put my food next to a window. Okay. As you can see, the window is probably on your left. And this nice pile of homemade cheese sits in a plate and just wraps itself around. The light's really pretty. So we have that nice big soft window light. This would work for anything. It doesn't matter if it's a bowl of noodles, homemade spaghetti, a chicken wing, doesn't matter. If you put any dish next to the window and make a picture of it, it's going to look really pretty. I can promise you that 100%. Guaranteed. And one more too is change how close you get to something. So if your phone has a macro mode, which you can get really close to things like taking pictures of flowers, texture and the shape. So in this case, it's a piece of ham with some cheese on the back of it. But like I mentioned before, the entire landscape idea lends itself to be rolling over in the top. So you are drawn towards that sort of motion of the food across the plate. That's pretty much it. I guess I talked too fast. If you're interested, you can follow us on mine or our Danang photographer social media feeds too. They're out there. I have a small project called Leftover Cuisine, which is just taking leftover food and making it look like fancy restaurant food. It's kind of funny, so if you want to find that one too, you can go right ahead. It's a good exercise in food photography. If you can make half-eaten food look good, then you're doing a pretty good job. Thank you very much, and I'd like to hear some of your questions.
Thank you, Fred. Well, I think your presentation was also great, and thanks for focusing on food and indoors light and hotel rooms. I'm sure people find it useful. Well, we don't get any questions yet, but I personally have a few questions to both of you, to both Etienne and Fred. First of all, well, both of you were talking a lot about the importance of light, but sometimes I guess people are limited in time and we cannot always tell what kind of weather we're gonna have, especially for example in Vietnam we have very often rainy season, sometimes there is no sun for weeks. What if, for example, I'm limited in time, I need to take a shot, but I cannot, it doesn't matter, even sunset or sunrise, the weather is not good, there is no good light, what should I do in this case?
Question is for
both of you, whoever wants to answer.
For both. Well, if I have to think of something, because we do have a rainy season in Hoi An every year, and we still do go take photos at this time when it's not pouring rain. So the idea here is to try to find the right amount of contrast. So when we talk about light, quality of light, we usually talk about contrast. If you shoot in the middle of the day, the light has a lot of contrast. It's not very good. Too much highlight, too much shadows. If you shoot when it's cloudy, there are not enough contrast and the photo looks a little bit flat. So the goal is to try to find a contrast. And Fred just mentioned, if you put your food next to the window, you will end up with a more interesting picture because something is really bright and then there will be the shadow on the other side of your plate and something will be dark. So you will recreate contrast. For people photography, on a very cloudy day, if someone stands in front of the door of their house, that will be bright and the inside of the house will be very dark. So you recreate contrast. So it's all about finding the spot when the light becomes interesting again, and window edges, door edges, places like this usually work really well.
If I can add something too, sometimes people look for contrast a lot, but there are also times when a cloudy day or a foggy morning can be very pretty. So you go out and you have this sort of soft, foggy feeling, and it's a different style. You can talk about doing people photography, lots of things with light, sure, but as long as you have some light out, you're going to be able to make a nice picture if you know what to look for, right? So I totally agree with Etienne in saying, when you put the doorway and you have a nice light coming in, but then it's also not wrong to go and take a look at something that's much softer. You can look at a different kind of look. Something foggy, something cloudy can look very nice too. So don't feel limited if you don't have, if you have a rainy day. You can go out and shoot all kinds of stuff. Plus umbrellas are nice too.
Thank you, Fred. We've lost Natalya. We've lost the whole.
I'm sorry. I put myself on mute. I actually made a mistake. Thanks, guys. We have more questions here. Actually, they started coming up. There is a question from Travis. It's sent privately, so sorry you cannot see it, but let me ask you. Travis is saying, thanks, guys. What are your thoughts on reality vs creating the best image? What are the limits on making a space product look better than it actually is?
Fred, you want to go on that one?
Yeah, sure, I'll take this one. I think it depends. If you are doing it for yourself or creativity is up to you. When it comes to doing something for clients, it's different because they have an idea of what they want their space or something to look like. Personally, I don't like to move too far into the realm of fantasy. I like to be able for it to be real. So if I'm going to be photographing a hotel room, for example, I don't want someone who sees that picture to expect Mount Fuji to be in the background of a photograph where Mount Fuji is not even in that country, right? We've all seen pictures where someone would photograph the iconic thing in the background or Photoshop it into the background of their window when that thing is nowhere near what you're looking at. So personally, I would say try to keep reality, grounded in reality as much as possible. But when it comes to the other side of things, how much creativity you're going to have, that's really up to you. If it's for yourself, you can go completely crazy. Why not be creative and just do whatever you feel like? Depends what you're trying to showcase, I guess.
Etienne, any?
Sorry, yeah, well, what Fred said, yeah, and I think there is no need to go and create images that are not real if you have the right strength in your business. Yeah. So if you only show the best of what your business can offer, and as I talked in my presentation, you just avoid showing the boring parts or the parts that you think are not really the best, then you're showing a good face for your activity. So I don't think there is a need to go and create things that are not there, because this is when things go wrong and clients complain because what they saw on the website is not what they got when they arrived.
Okay, thanks. Well, we have it's not a question, but more of a comment from Bridget. Thank you both for your insights and good advice. I learned a lot about creating images for the web pages for my art classes and tours. It is not always easy to put yourself in the shoes of your prospective clients and building the dream in their imaginations. You have given me plenty to think about. Well, we are very happy that it was very useful for you.
Natalya, I received a question, but privately on the chat.
Okay, yeah, sure. Please don't read. Yeah, because I think some people just send them privately by mistake.
So, Sel from Alberto. Alberto asks, is it wiser to use image with interaction rather than pose photo? I mean, what he means is it better to use natural photo? A natural photo usually better than posed photo or not? So this is a tricky one, yeah? If you really want to stage something complicated, if you want to add 5, 6, 7 or more keywords about your business in one image, it's going to be extremely difficult to capture that candidly. So you're going to have to organize it to set it up, but you're going to have to set it up in a way that doesn't look like it was set up. So it's about finding people who act natural and trying to not really try to capture something that is real. Yeah. For example, when I took photo of my son riding his bicycle yesterday, the last picture when he's amongst the ghosts, I told him, okay, you just walk and you look happy. That's what I told him. Yeah, you look happy, you smile. Yeah. And the first 3, 4 photos, he's got this this false smile, and it didn't work. And suddenly one of the goats did actually a farting sound. Yeah. She was like, did a sound, and he started laughing. Yeah. And then I took the shot, and it looks like he's really enjoying. So you need to find the right actors if you set it up, otherwise it doesn't look really real. And the chance I have on my own business is that I'm there with the clients all the time, so I can take the pictures of them. If I had like only staff taking all the tools, I would not be here to take the pictures, and I would not be here to capture all these candid moments. So, but you do have to stage. For commercial work, we stage things a lot. For photographing restaurants, which are busy with a lot of clients, we have to stage the thing because there's always someone in the background that's going to be staring at the camera, or is going to be having a big piece of salad in their teeth, and you don't want to show them like this.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the goat farting part is funny. Now I know the secret because I'm personally the same, because when I have to be on the picture, I start doing the fake smile. So yeah, I probably should have a goat somewhere around farting. Thanks a lot. Well, Alexandra is saying it's called the yellow smile.
The yellow smile, yeah.
Well, if there are no more questions from the audience, I still have one more question from myself. Well, I don't know if you guys, if it's your expertise or not, but yeah, well, try to answer if you can. I'm interested if there are any specifics of taking pictures for Instagram and Facebook.
Specifics how, like how they fit or how you should do it?
Overall, yes, how you should take, if there are any specifics, or it doesn't matter for what you're going to use them.
Well, from a technical standpoint, Instagram likes vertical photos. It doesn't like horizontal ones. So the square or a slightly larger than square triangle fits really well. Etienne and I just discussed this morning as well. For video, Instagram is fantastic for vertical video. For every other platform, vertical video is terrible. So if you're going to use video for things like Facebook or for YouTube or your own website, then the horizontal format works much nicer. But for Instagram, it's unique that it's always on a phone. It's always vertical. So you have the videos will fit in that long form vertical style. Same with the photographs. They're going to be vertical and will fit better. If you look at someone's feed with the Instagram and they have a nice big long picture like this, it comes out so tiny you can't see anything. So if you flip it vertical, then you have the much more detail. So technically, yes, there are different ways to use each platform differently. In terms of content, though, I don't know. I think it fits across everything. I think you can put anything you want on every platform. I'm not the best social media person though, so I know Etienne's got a little more experience doing that for his tour business. I would probably ask him more that one. But.
Okay, so in terms of content, well, first before I talk about content, I want to say that composing good photos and videos on this very long vertical format is hell. Thank you very much, Instagram. So about content, yeah, it's about you. It's about you analyzing because it is usually rare that you have exactly the same type of followers on your different social media, on Instagram and Facebook. You may have different people following you who are useful to different content. So it's about doing tests. We realized that on Instagram, for example, portraits work much better than on Facebook because they appear bigger on the phone or they're more striking. So putting maybe a few more portraits on Instagram than we do on Facebook, and a bit more landscapey things on Facebook than we do on Instagram, but it's about you analyzing your followers and doing some tests, a lot of testing.
Okay, thanks. Well, we also have another comment here. Rosette invites you both to Uganda for photo tours. And she says that culture, food, and people are great, are the best, actually.
Would love to go to Uganda, yeah?
Love to go to Uganda.
Well, when we are off the lockdown, well, when the travel is resumed, so maybe you guys can consider doing your next workshop there.
We have to change the name from Pics of Asia to Pics of Africa first.
Sure, that's the easy part, definitely.
I think that's cool. Let's do that.
Okay, yeah, and Alexandra is saying, I use the same photos, but in different days. Okay, I see what she's talking about. Yeah, okay. Well,
that's sense. A good idea, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I don't see any more questions coming here. I guess, well, yeah, it's been an hour workshop, which is good. It's good we kept it short. Rosette is also saying, great, we will make sure you add gorilla excursions on your tour. That would be fun, definitely.
Oh, I heard they do a lot of farting sounds as well, so we should get some nice moments there.
Perfect, and I'll go with you to learn how to naturally smile. Yeah, okay, thank you guys. Thanks, Fred, thanks, Etienne. I think that was very useful. Thanks everyone for joining. Please keep in mind that we've been recording this presentation and it will be available in a few days on Travel Massive website. We will send it the link to everyone. If you know of anyone who wanted to join but couldn't, you also can share the link in future with them so they can still rewatch it. Please keep an eye on our upcoming workshops and Travel Massive. We'll be organizing another one in a couple of weeks. So please stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot. I hope you connect with the guys and follow them on Instagram and check out their websites. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.